I thank you for joining us on today's show. Today we have Krys Ra, who is a renowned spiritual specialist and a trusted guide of ether physics, known for his ability to demystify complex subjects like gravity, the ether, teleportation, and our intricate nature of time. In the role of a cosmic guide and spiritual specialist, Krys serves as a beacon of enlightenment, helping individuals to reconnect with their true spiritual essence and offering profound insights into a vast realm of cosmology, including interstellar communication and methods to transcend and check out our 3D Earth experience and existence. Krys provides guidance for those on the path of becoming interstellar citizens and assists in the harmonious alignment of business and spiritual entities, all while emphasizing the significance of living in accordance with the divine principles of God's law. And beyond his expertise, Krys also officiates, ordains, and along with wedding ceremonies and spiritual mentorship, and also empowers individuals to take charge of their lives in synchronicity with their inner source. It's very
Yeah.
fascinating. It's so much to learn about you. So where would you like to start? And tell us about you, yourself, and how you got started along your journey.
Yeah. So, I have always been a visitor to this realm. I mean that quite literally. I know myself much more than the human perception, although I have allowed myself to explore and integrate what it means to, quote, be human. But I think something within me started to stir whenever I was quite young. I would always have what some would call supernatural experiences, very, very vivid dreams. I would wake up and see my dreams playing out like with my physical eyes, which means I was in different realms at the same time. Um, and I've had people show up, give me physical objects and kind of disappear. I have really been connected to the stars my whole life. Always felt a calling to the cosmos, right? To what else is there besides what we're taught and told. So, my journey began there, kind of being different from the beginning, but then being programmed through education, through society, through religion, and then later on in my college years, realizing that what I felt as a kid was actually the truth, and I kind of returned back to that innocence and really started to reclaim my own inner wisdom, outside of anyone else's interpretation of what they thought reality was, right? So I really started to listen to that inner voice and realize that the inner voice is the same inner voice that's within all of us, and that the source is quite literally us, the presence that sustains us all. Um, I had a really profound experience. This was kind of like a with like a fork in the road a couple years ago. I'll share really quick. I was FaceTiming my partner, and I was with my daughter at home, and this sound came through the FaceTime, and it was really weird because um, my partner on the other end could hear me, but she couldn't hear the sound, and I could hear her. I mean, and I couldn't hear her. So there was this really intricate play of audio that was happening. And that night before, I had been outside communicating with our star friends, and I said, "Hey, when you guys are ready to connect, just come through the phone." I just kind of said that in passing because I had an app on my phone, where if the electromagnetic field around you shifted, that the phone would beep. And so I kind of said it like anticipating something to happen there. I never did that night, but that next morning, this event took place. I have this recording of this whole 6-minute experience on my YouTube channel, and the most important thing that happened during that call was at the end. I actually had someone slow the recording down so they could hear what was being said. And you hear kind of this voice kind of it's kind of this like crackly sound. And then at the end, it says, "Listen to yourself. They cannot hurt you. They cannot control you." So that became something that I live by, always following inner guidance and knowing that I am the source, you're the source, and we're here just to share our different perspectives as the source. So that's where I'll start for now.
Wow, that's amazing. That's beautiful. And then tell us about how you became a spiritual guide.
I used to just give free advice to people all the time. Where, my friends would need some guidance on something. I just seem to always have a knack for one-liners, or I had a friend one time, she's like, you always say things that are so deep. I'm like, it is what it is, I don't know. Um, and so I didn't take myself seriously enough to make it what I do in the world. I thought it was just kind of something that happened, I'd get some downloads or some information. But I realized that I wasn't like everyone, even within the spiritual community, that I really had a fine tuning to the ether, or to the eternal principle, if you will. And whenever I started to take that more seriously, I realized that I could actually help people, not just in passing, but as my life's work. And I started to really put my services together and take myself to another level, utilizing my time more wisely, being disciplined within my own consciousness. Um, Meditation has been a huge part of my life. And so, yeah, just listening again to that inner source, and then taking that next step to actually embody what I was experiencing internally, right? So I always say, like, I'm the first teacher, but I'm also the first student. So then as people showed up, I realized that I'm here on this planet to be in service to the collective and help humans become interstellar. And I mean that quite literally. Like, we have to go from, these kind of infants in the cosmos who play victim, to realizing that we are the source, and we're here to bring that to fruition. So it's been a journey. There's so many things I could say and share.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's amazing. So you assist people along their journey
Hmm.
and their spiritual awakening. And
Yeah.
you also had the HAS, is that right?
The HSA, yeah. So the holistic,
HSA.
yeah,
Yeah, tell me about the
society alliance.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. About that.
So but yeah, so the first part of that question, yes, to help people on their spiritual journey. Earlier I was helping people who were just going through trauma and emotional turmoil, but I realized that my calling was something else, that I'm actually here to bring forth cosmic frequency, or the wisdom of the cosmos. Um, Cosmos means order, right? It means the order of things. And so, I've remembered a lot of my past or current lives, and I've pulled a lot of wisdom from other aspects of my consciousness that I don't channel, but I bring through information from other parts of my being. So I'm saying this just to let people know that, yes, I help people on their spiritual journey, but I'm at a point now where I'm really only interested in helping people who have started to help themselves, who have taken initiative to pull up their own bootstraps and actually do some of the inner work. And then once people have done that, I show up as a cosmic guide to let people know how the ether works, what cosmology really is, yeah, like what gravity is, what time is. So it's like that next tier of consciousness, instead of just, you know being into all the mysticism and all the what's the word, like shock and awe of of awakening.
Yeah,
I'm here to ground it, and then have people truly utilize their capacity to create reality, and like actually do it, not just kind of be surprised that they can do telepathy, but really become a steward of their own awakening. Um,
yeah,
so that's that part. And then the Holistic Society Alliance is one part of my bigger vision to bring humans together, to actualize these things, to come together as a people and start to live harmoniously amongst each other without third party interference. So, what's happening on the planet, whether it's upcoming wars, whether it's, pandemic, whatever is going on, is
yeah,
simply reflection of the human psyche, the collective unconscious. So my goal and my job now, I've been commissioned to bring forth what we're calling the holistic society, which is a spiritually advanced society structure that involves people doing what they love and not needing to work to make a living, but simply allowing their hearts to express what it is they want to do. And through that, the whole community, the whole, civilization is provided for of HSA. It's on the website too.
No, that's amazing. Tell me about the website where we can find that.
Yeah, so republicofeternalnations.org is the website.
Okay.
The first thing you're going to see is HSA, the Holistic Society Alliance, and it's going to, I wrote out kind of the core mission of HSA, what it is, and what a holistic society is in full. And then you can register for either one of the three tiers. Tier one, if you have a PMA or a temple, you can start to, you would send me the temple name and what you do, and then we can add you to the directory of HSA. Tier two is you would get added to the directory, but then you would get templates to fill out your own PMA paperwork and everything if you don't already have it set up. Tier three, I'm walking you through a training which is 3 levels. Level 1 is the mindset. Level 2 is understanding spiritual law versus man-made law. Level 3 is actually setting up your temple or your PMA in your own jurisdiction. So that's on there. You'll see one-on-one services about telepathy training, about ether physics, multidimensional guidance, and then if you want to hire me for a speaker, speak on some of the more intricate details of reality, that's on there too.
Amazing. And then so you said you don't channel, but you must channel somewhere if you have these abilities. So tell me about your abilities and how you came to discover this life path of yours.
Oh man, you said we have 30 minutes? In short, summarizing, I don't channel. I am a son of the ether, an emanation of the source, as you are, as all of us are.
Yeah.
So what I do is I comprehend that I have access to all information. So I'm never bringing in like another being into my body.
Right.
Uh, I, as the source, as a soul, really, am projecting this body.
Right.
And so I know that I have access to other experiences, whether it's in this realm or a different dimension or a different timeline. And all I need to do, I go into meditation. And a lot of people work on, trying to listen to a specific entity or a specific being, which is fine. But what I do is I allow myself to just be present. And then I'll start to perceive images and I'll start to kind of get a feeling. And then usually like words will just start flowing in my mind and I write them down. And it's been concepts from time travel to phase shifting to how creation actually came about.
Mhm.
And how did I discover that I could do this? I always had a very strong intuition and ability to read people ever since I was young. I think a lot of my childhood, I had to be good at reading people. And, you know, so that developed early on. But then, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I've always been like this. I've always been able to perceive reality. I've always had a very vivid imagination. Um, I remember one time back in college, I was just sitting around and I started like to perceive something that my friend was doing. I wasn't trying to look. I just was like perceiving them. I think they were working on something. And I was like, what is this? Am I like remote viewing? I had never heard of those words, remote viewing before. I didn't think it was a thing, but I just looked it up and I was like, oh my God, this is real. This is what I'm doing. you know? So knowing I'm a soul, knowing where I've been before, I have just got myself to the point where I can remember now, where I remember how to do this. And it's like when you ride a bike, you kind of remember, no matter if you're 12 years old or 112, you still know how to ride the bike. So a
Mhm.
soul, if it has enough training, it will be able to bring into itself, into its direct experience, more information, right?
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah. So in your teaching these abilities to other people and mentoring them as well through this?
for sure. And this is not like, I just want to tell them, like, I'm not talking this way because I'm like some special.
Right.
I'm a soul just like you are. And the only difference is I've allowed myself to not be swayed from that. I haven't let the outside world dictate who and what I am.
Mhm.
And I teach people how to get into the proper brain waves in order to access those states of consciousness.
Right.
Because there is a physiology to it as much as there is a cosmology. So I teach people how to tune in to themselves, what that feels like in the physical body, and
Mhm.
then why something like that would be important. And really demystifying, as the bio says, all of these super high abilities, and they're just a normal function of a soul. So
Right.
my job as a cosmic guide is to remind humans how to operate on a soul level, which is not so crazy. It's really
Yeah.
just a few shifts in your ideas and your perception. You know.
No, you're right. You are absolutely right. There's like a switch within us, and if we can just embrace that and practice it and be open it,
Right.
it flows through. And
Yeah.
everyone has their own different abilities. So I think that's amazing what you're doing.
Thank you.
And do
Yeah.
you have courses online that people can take, or are these courses directly with you one-on-one?
So I have both. I have an extended mentoring program that people can register for if they want to work one-on-one, online or in person. Um, like I said, we have the HSA levels 1, 2, and 3 training. But yeah, if you just message me, shoot me an email, or find me on Instagram, I'm definitely here to be in service to you all. Um, my work is not for people who are wanting to stay in the same spiritual box. Like, whenever you work with me, you're going to expand and you're going to transform. Like, I'm not interested in fitting a spiritual label or category, because I know there's a lot of people who uh, want to fit in some sort of new age thing, and that's not really what I'm about. I'm about the authenticity and the realness of the heart, of source, of a soul, right?
Yeah.
And actualizing that, not just kind of listening to what we've been told, because there's a whole spiritual matrix that people have no clue about. And so my job is to help people really become nothing, no thing, empty themselves out, so that they can see what's truly there.
Yes, no, that's very important.
Mm-hmm.
I went through a Buddhism practice where you just detach yourself
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
from the physical, and it really is, it's a transformation process.
It is, and something I love to teach, if I can say for real quick, do we have a moment for that? Yeah.
Of course.
Is that the physical and the spiritual are not two different things. I say either everything is physical or everything's astral or ethereal,
Right.
depending how you look at it.
Yeah.
Because as I get into my work, I share with people, um, physicality is just a byproduct of a focus point of consciousness. That's it.
Mhm. Mhm.
The astral or the ether is just potential energy that you're not focused on. The
Right.
second you focus on something, then it becomes physical.
Yes.
So there's no separate, like, we're always in the spiritual realm. We're always, that's the magic, is where I
Hmm.
feel like people are always trying to get somewhere and trying to, it's like you physicality is not what you think. It's a byproduct of your focused energy. So you can't escape it as much as you can shift your focus, your thoughts, your ideas, and how you perceive things.
Yeah.
You know,
Definitely.
it's real
Yeah.
magic.
It really is, and you're helping people like to wake up and to remember who they are, and
Yeah,
to recognize these abilities and just become aware. I think that's so important.
yeah, on a different level too, because I know, and I went through it too. You hear about that teaching, then you hear about that teaching, then you hear about this teaching, and
Right.
at the end of the day, they all serve a purpose. And I'm not saying that what I teach is superior. It's a different angle on
Yes.
all of it.
Yes.
Everyone's gonna follow what they need to follow. But my aim here in this realm is to guide people to themselves, but beyond that, now actually start to utilize the functions of a soul. Because
Mhm.
like I said, a lot of people hear about telekinesis, they hear about telepathy, they hear about earth bending and air bending, they hear about um, all these wonderful things, but
Mhm.
there is a way that that stuff is possible, but you have to you have to let go of the hierarchy of spirituality that, like, the Zen masters have it all figured out, or sometimes the Buddhists have it all figured. It's not like that.
Right.
We all have these functions. You just have to comprehend a little bit more about how the ether works. And that's what I teach, is ether physics. What is gravity? What is time? Because if you can understand those two things,
Mhm.
there's a lot to do.
Yeah, definitely. You have to drop those expectations when you go through these classes.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Right. And then so you also do speaking and lectures. And so you have a event coming up at the Conscious Life Expo in 2024 in February. And so
Yeah.
it looks like you have a free workshop, and that is the ether physics of dimensions, time, and frequency. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So thank you everyone at the Conscious Life Expo for reaching out and connecting. I still remember how that whole thing happened. I was in meditation, living in the moment of me speaking to people, and then I woke up, opened my eyes, came back, however you want to say it, and just had the intuition to look up conscious, um I think conscious talks or something. And one of the first things that popped up was the expo. I looked on Instagram and they had reached out. So I was like, boom. So literally collapsing time, creating reality in real time. And I do this meditation. This is just one example of what I'll be talking about, where I was in meditation,
Mm-hmm.
um, living in what someone call an alternate space, but then instantly made that space real, physical.
Mm-hmm.
Because never in my life have I ever heard of the Conscious Life Expo, except for whenever, it kind of got brought into my awareness through aligning with the frequency. So at the expo, I'll be talking about that, how to realize yourself as the source, and how to utilize your own consciousness to shift dimensions. And not just that, what is the difference between dimensions and densities? Because there's a lot of confusion and a lot of glorification of both of them. And
Right.
so I'm going to simplify it so much so that you'll be able to leave that talk and feel like, this is what I've been missing this whole time. Like, I like to take really abstract concepts and just make it super simple, because it really is. God, the source, is not complicated. Dimensions and densities are not what we think. They're not parallel universes. Um, Frequency is the key to everything, and I'm not just talking about sound. I will be also doing a sound and frequency panel
Oh, yes.
at the expo.
Okay.
Yep,
Sound and frequency.
yep.
Awesome.
They're keys, and when you really comprehend the power and the simplicity of it all,
Mm-hmm.
again, you really feel empowered within your own being, and you don't feel like you need to outsource your consciousness anymore. You don't need to depend on anyone. You can ask questions and gain guidance and information, but at the end of the day, you're going to feel like you can actually trust yourself, because you're going to start to comprehend how reality works, and not just from a lens of I have all the answers, but from very practical, simple, and digestible ways that you can just utilize what I'm showing you and apply it.
Right.
And then time is the other thing. Time really brings it all together. And there's a lot of misconceptions about time, different timelines. Um, we think of time as something as that's linear, and it's not linear whatsoever. Time is the byproduct of a flow in the ether from a consciousness. I'm a time traveler, not because I've gone back into the 1700s, but because I am time, and your time, Melanie, and everyone else's time. And so I'm going to share with people at the expo how their time, how they are time itself, how to control it, and then how to utilize it in your everyday lives. And then everything else after that is going to be when I really get into my work and start to share with people how to function like that as a society, hence the Holistic Society Alliance. So
Yeah.
there's levels to my work. I can't just give it all at once. I know what I'm doing. I see it, but I can't just be like, I gotta have people have a solid foundation. You can't just jump in the Ferrari if you've never had driver's lessons, right? So humans need a little bit of guidance, and empowerment, and that's my job right now, is to empower, offer cosmic wisdom, and then let people do what they want, and choose from there.
Yeah, so it sounds like it'll be a hands-on workshop where people can interact, ask questions,
Yep.
and have some engagement with one another. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. So you'll be able to, I'm also going to have like a slideshow too. So just some different slides. Again, because I want people to engage. Thank you for bringing that up, because I can very easily get into
Yeah.
the expansiveness of it. So thank you for that. Yes, communicating with each other, hands-on or soul open or soul on practices that you can do at the expo. Um, and then, yeah, just really helping people communicate in different ways maybe than they ever have. And then ask questions for sure. I want this to be a conversation. I don't want this to be me just talking to people. My intention is that people hear me speak, but feel sparked to ask questions, because that's how people grow and that's how people feel grounded and secure within the information that they're receiving. So I'm not a know-it-all. I don't know everything. I know what I need to know when I need to know it, and I share that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's very important. So the free workshop is going to be Friday, February 9th at 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. And
Mhm.
that's in the room that it's going to be in is the Marina
It is actually. I think we switched that to 6. I
to
think we
6 p.m. that day.
Yeah. I think we
Okay.
switched to 6 on that Friday, right? Because it's Friday's the 12th, right?
Yes, actually
Yeah,
Friday is the
or
9th.
the 9th.
Friday's the 9th. Yep.
Okay, so yeah,
And
so yeah,
okay, okay. Yeah,
yeah.
so if anybody's interested in that workshop, it is free. And
Mhm.
is there anything else that someone should expect from your free workshop?
Yeah, have an open mind, a clear mind, I would say. Um, a lot of things I talk about transcend a lot of the concepts we even learned in the spiritual community. And
Mm.
the only thing I would invite people into is to allow yourself to expand if you feel called to. If I say things or talk on topics that might seem different than you're used to, because I do a lot of ET contact and things like that I'll be talking a little bit about. And I can just tell that there might be some worlds kind of like kind of shattered, like, oh my God, no. So my goal is not to shatter anyone's minds. My goal is to expand. So just drop your expectations. Be curious, ask questions, and know that what I share, um, it really is timeless, and it's here at this specific juncture in human history to assist the human collective. So if that's something you're interested in, this is for you. If you're interested in just kind of getting a shock value of like what the next cool thing is, my workshop's probably not going to be for you. But if you're interested in actually um, living up to what it means to be a soul, and furthermore, a creator, and furthermore, source and a conscious being who lives lucidly in their life, with no fear, then this workshop is for you. It's heart centered, it's clear minded. So, yeah.
That's beautiful. Yeah, so many will have the opportunity to bring in that creator God source
Mhm.
energy to themselves. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Yes. 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 It's like you have those little dots on and the stars and everything behind you. You
Yeah.
know, it's all, if you put all those dots into one, they're all just one dot. But when you let that dot breathe, it seems like it's separate. So
Yeah.
my goal is unity, to help humans realize that they're already unified. It's the scientific community needs to realize that um you know there's no God particle. We already have. We're not even gonna get into all that.
Definitely.
But
Was it
yeah, you guys get the point.
Yeah, definitely. Is this your first time at the expo?
It is, yes, it is, and it's not. I guess it depends on what timeline you're talking about. But as far as
Okay.
this version, yes.
Yeah. All right. This is your first time. Awesome. And then
Yeah.
what are you looking forward to for the expo, the Conscious Life Expo this next year of 2024?
Hmm. I think I'm looking forward to the overall experience, but then also um, seeing people walk out of there elevated and empowered. At least that's how I view the expo, as a place where people can experience transcendental things that change their lives for the better. So, if I walk out of there and, I get a few messages and I hear people talking about how amazing it was, I think that'd be amazing. That'd be really great to hear. And meeting all the wonderful other speakers, I'm sure there's gonna be other amazing people there who have a lot of wisdom to share. So I'm excited just to meet other human beings who have realized a couple things and want to share it. Are you going to be there?
I am. I'm going to
Are
be
you?
there.
Okay, so yeah,
I
fist
am.
bump. So,
Yeah, fifth bump it. I actually am I have an event on Friday the 9th as well. So
oh, nice. Okay, yeah. So looking forward to meeting with you. And I did a podcast with Debbie Dashinger, so that'll be fun meeting her in person.
yeah,
Um, yeah,
absolutely.
I think that's it as far as the expo. Looking forward to hanging out
Mhm.
with people and seeing people be transformed for the better.
Definitely. And do you have a vendor table or are you just hosting your workshop and the
Yeah,
panel?
yeah. I think I'm just hosting the workshop and the panel.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna have a QR code people can scan just to kind of check into some of my services and other events I have going on. But I don't have a booth. I will be doing the panel. You said that, right? Yeah, the sound
Yes.
and frequency piano.
Yes.
So I'll be talking there, and I think that's it for now, at least.
Right. Yeah. And then tell us about your website and what we can find at the website.
Yeah. So we're gonna find. Okay, so there's HSA, Holistic Society Alliance. Then I have the PMA, so REN, Republic of Eternal Nations, Private Members Association, and that's really where I do a lot of my law or yeah, law coaching and things like that. So again, this is not legal advice. This is entertainment purposes only. You guys get the gist. But I help people comprehend the difference again between spiritual law and man's law and how they can actually embody what they say they are. A lot of people say they're God, sovereign and free, or they're sovereign. Well, there's saying it, and then there's being it, and then there's actualizing it, right? So um, the REN PMA is geared towards helping people comprehend how to live in this world free um, as a soul and not feel bombarded by the system, right? So you're also going to find my one-on-one services, and then you're going to find my um, talks, or where you can hire me to speak, at your events and things like that. So yeah,
Wonderful. And then you also mentioned you have a YouTube channel.
I do. It's not as active as I'd like it to be. I know it's a big platform for a lot of people. I think it's Cosmic Frequency 9 is the YouTube, but then Instagram is my major platform. I have over 24,000 followers on there. That's Cosmic Frequency, but frequency spelled wrong. Frequency is missing the second E. I didn't mean to do that, but just kind of the ether, the E. I guess it's kind of cool like that.
Yeah.
So that's where you guys can find me and connect with me on social media mainly, and then my email. And then honestly, yeah, I think one of the last things I want to say, how much time do we have? Are we doing good on time?
We're good on time.
Okay, cool. Then maybe not the last thing, but yeah, if any of this resonates, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm here. This is what I do. It's what I live for. It's to be in service to the collective and the souls who feel ready to actually transform. There's a big group of people right now who are still kind of running around in spiritual archetypes, whether it's Western astrology, whether it's hmm, basically my work is designed to help you bring you back to you, and let go of all those other things. I've been a part of so many different spiritual communities, and at the end of the day, the biggest thing I learned from all of it was that they can't do what you can do for yourself, you know.
Right.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
the word I hear is detachment.
detachment, letting it go. Yes, becoming that pure potential 0 point. True power is in potential. It's not whenever you yell and scream and you're so strong. True power is in your presence, right? And the way that you are,
Mhm.
right? So yeah.
Definitely. Wonderful. Beautiful. And so you have your Instagram, YouTube channel, and your website. And so
Yeah.
is there any other platforms where we can find you?
Um, I have a Facebook, but it's not really active because everything from Instagram just goes to the Facebook.
True.
Um, you can try telepathy,
Okay.
we could do that honestly. Yeah. I
Yeah.
I show up in people's dreams a lot. They're like, oh my God, you're in my dreams. And it's because whenever I sit in meditation, I actually like to I do this thing where I send out this pulse wave. I call it an ether pulse rhythm. I'm just emitting this frequency. And my only intention in that moment is that if there's any part of a soul who remembers itself, that people will feel that spark, will feel that, right? And we're
Mhm.
all kind of being this synchro natural vibration all at the same time. I'm sending this energy out into the cosmos at large, right?
Yeah.
Day or two later, oh my God, you're in my dream. And I'm like, yes, good, you got the message. So telepathy really does work. It's not reading people's minds because you can't invade people's mental space, but what you can do is you can read the ether and the pure potential. And that's something that I teach people. So connect with me through thought, through the heart, and short and sweet. Email source@sourcefountain.org is the other email. And what else? Yeah. Yeah, those are the only platforms really that I utilize at the moment.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Yeah, that'd be wonderful. We can share those links on our channel, and so that if anybody from our community can locate you and connect with you
Mhm.
further for
Mhm.
anything, they can do that there. And I guess I want to also ask a quick question about your perspective or belief on deja vu.
That's that's so funny you said that because
Did
I
you have
was
deja
just
vu right now?
well, kind of, but I was just talking to my partner. She said the other day, she's like, "So what's deja vu?" And I was like, "Well, I guess so." We just had this conversation.
Right.
Um, so that has to do with time, right? It has to do with the plasticity or the elasticity of reality, and like the fact that time is not linear. It's not okay, today is whatever date it is, and then tomorrow is the 17th, and after that is the 18th. Those are just frequencies. Everything is just frequency. And so what that means is that like the whole month of October is already set. I could even say something like, the year 1313 or 1445 is still here. It's just at a certain harmonic, it's at a certain frequency range. And if
Mhm.
you can vibrate at that frequency, you can experience, 1445 right now.
Right.
And so when it comes to deja vu, what I feel like is happening is people are time slipping. So if you think of it like this, if you draw a picture and in that picture there is a young man, and that young man, you're the artist, right? So you're drawing this picture of this young man and you say, someone says, hey, what's this a picture of? And you say, oh, this is a young man. He's about 27 years old. He lives in so and so and he has this going on in his life. You've created 27 years of that man's life that are just that's wrote out in that moment. So if that young man was conscious, he would
Mhm.
have 27 different frames of his life, right? So year 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 27. Okay.
Mhm.
But from his perspective, it would only be in one moment,
Right.
right? So deja vu is time slipping to maybe frame 14. But then by the time you get to frame 14 linearly, oh,
Mhm.
I've been here before. This is deja vu, right? Because time again is it's a frequency. So part of you managed to time slip and vibrate in resonance with a progression of your consciousness, because everything is pattern. So your soul is vibrating a certain frequency and pattern that has a certain cadence to it, right? So
Mhm.
you could actually trace your future and your past, right? So you were able to see a few beats into the future of what you would do,
Mhm.
and then that information was downloaded or shared with you consciously through your linear lens, through your linear perspective. Do you see what I'm saying? So you
I
time
do.
slip, you view it unconsciously, but you still have the information. By the time you experience that event linearly, because you follow that
Mhm.
same trajectory,
Right.
then you say, oh, I'm having a deja vu. Because you're not a body, you're only experiencing yourself through the white light spectrum, through the limitation that you set. But you as a soul, you have range to all of it.
Right.
So you time slip to the future, the past, all the time.
Right. So so I guess I have a couple questions there. Are we creating that, or is it already created because we come in with these contracts?
Yeah, so it's both.
Okay.
What came first, the chicken or the egg?
Right.
Well, you know that you can't have the chicken without the egg. You know that you can't have the egg without the chicken. So the
Right.
only logical explanation is what?
Scrambled eggs.
Is that it had to happen simultaneously,
Right. Yeah.
right? Scrambled eggs is good too. That has to be both. One defines the other. You can't have one without the other because they define each other, right? So you're already your higher self. You're already your source self. You're projecting yourself as a limited being called a human that only has access, illusion. How do you say this word? Through illusion, through the white light spectrum. The seven chakras is just the white light spectrum. That's all it is. This small frequency range.
Yeah.
And so you have a contract, but it's not a contract that is binding. You're the source. You can change your life, change your contract anytime. Some people come in with a contract to live a life where it's shitty and everything sucks. And they realize, I don't want that experience anymore. So
Perfect. Yeah.
there's no outside source that's
Mhm.
that's that's holding you hostage and say, hey, you signed this contract. You made that up for yourself.
Right. It's like changing the channel on the television. You have
Yeah,
the
you
ability to do that.
right. You have the ability to do that. There's no one that's telling you not to do it. So people get so hung up on what's my soul contract? It's whatever you want it to be when you want it to be. You're the soul. It's
Mhm.
your game. And
Yeah.
that's the freedom I'm kind of getting into with people is like
Mhm.
we have this hierarchy and God Father, literally God Father mentality, like looking over after us, like that's your
Mhm.
contract, like this is your karma. Like it's not like that.
Right.
You've always been in control. It just yeah, the system is designed to make you feel like you're not, but you also design the system.
Exactly. Exactly.
Does that answer that
Yeah.
question?
Oh, it does. It does answer that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And I can't wait to learn more at your workshop, which is going to be Friday, February 9th at
Yeah.
12 p.m.
Yeah.
To 1:30 p.m. So it's a full 90 minutes of lessons and learning and expansion and hands-on interaction.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your workshop about? I'm just curious. Are you doing, you said you're doing one?
I am. So my workshop is going to be Friday, February 9th at 2 p.m. It's going to be a free workshop. It's also
Mhm.
90 minutes. And I am, how do I say, I will be bringing the essence of Anubis through.
Ooh.
And
Yeah.
so there will be readings and healings,
I
instantaneous
love it.
healings. And so I discovered that because I do quantum healing hypnotherapy.
Yep.
And
Yep.
aside from that, every time I would go into regression, I would go
hmm
back to Anubis and
hmm
Anubis in Egypt. And
Wow.
so as the years went on, I realized, oh, this is actually a thing.
Yes. Yep.
So I've learned how to kind of go in as like a trance channel, I guess you would
Yeah.
say,
Yeah. Yeah.
and provide. I mean, it's I don't want to say it's crazy, but maybe I hear next level of
Yeah.
um, channeling, because what I'm doing is I'm not only reading people, but I'm giving them healings
Hmm.
within that moment, and
Hmm.
it's multidimensional. So there are no, as you
Yeah.
know, there are no space and time limits.
Right.
So it'll be quite fascinating, and it'll be my first time doing this in a workshop.
That's
Yep.
awesome. Well, congratulations to you. That's huge.
Thank
It's
you. Hope to
yeah,
see you there. It looks
yeah,
like
yeah.
you might have the time on Friday.
Well, it's funny because it sounds a lot like something I used to offer called inner light energy tuning, where um I would go into meditation and it doesn't matter where the person would be in the world, but
Mm,
I would go into meditation and I would kind of do this aura scan and I could see where I don't want to say whether there was blockages, but I could just see where there was stagnant energy and
right.
would usually get a tone or some sort of symbol or code. And my star team, we would start to assist in harmonizing, but then also we would get a whole bunch of information about how that element came to be and some potential solutions. And so I'd get
Mhm.
off I'd come out of the meditation, hop back on a video call with the client and say, hey, what'd you experience? And they'd say, hey, we had this, this, and this. I'd share my notes and it would be so spot on. And this is whenever I really started to realize, like, oh my God, this is an actual thing we can do. Like it's really that simple.
Yeah.
Um, and I had one woman one time where we were working on her head. I didn't know what happened, but there was a lot of energy around her head, and we were just doing different things and got back on the call. And I said, so how does your head feel? And she goes, well, I didn't tell you this, but I had a horrible car accident, and I had like she had some not a concussion. Yeah, she just had some sort of brain injury that she had
Mhm.
not been able to heal for years. And
Mhm.
after this session, she was like, everything was much better. So yeah, so you saying that you're going in and it's next level, it is because we're cosmic doctors, and it's time for humans to start to realize that we can start to assist each other in this way. And it's not taboo, it's not
Mhm.
weird, it's not woo-woo. It's simply the next tier of what it means to be a soul and utilizing our abilities that are very natural. So that's a
Right.
beautiful, yeah, yeah,
Advancement.
yes, 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 you got it.
Yes. Yes. I'm
Peaceful
really,
human advancement.
yeah, I'm really excited about all that whole topic. I mean,
Hmm.
that whole topic is just, it fascinates me.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and then I love that you're doing that and stepping into that role and assisting others. And so
Hmm.
it is really, it's meaningful and powerful during this time
Yeah,
through transitions that we have. And so I'm really looking forward to the Conscious Life Expo
yeah,
and looking forward to meeting you.
yeah.
And
Likewise.
definitely. And so, do you have any last messages for anybody joining us at the expo, or anybody who hasn't been to the expo? I know you haven't been quite yet this timeline right now, but I know you'll
Yeah.
get there. And so, is there anything that you want to share with anybody listening? It can be about the
Mm.
expo, or it can just to be about a general collective message that's fairly important.
Yeah, so almost immediately, it's like you got to get in on this. So if I think the last message is that nothing's going to happen until something happens, which is to say, we have to humans have to take responsibility for the planet, for the politics, for the way that they live. People have to stop waiting for some spiritual event, some extraterrestrial thing, and like on an everyday basis. What are you thinking? What thoughts are you allowing to perseverate? What ideas are you holding? How are you perceiving reality? That's what needs to shift, because society is not made up by external things, it's made up by the internal. Each and every single human being is society. Society does not exist outside of humanity. It's not something that like has some sort of power over us. We are creating it. So my message is spiritual maturity and spiritual responsibility for all of us to take a moment and ask ourselves, what attachments are we holding on to that keeps me limited? What am I waiting for? Am I waiting for that $1,000 to show up? Am I waiting for that ET to show itself in the sky? Am I waiting for the next solar flare? Am I waiting for the next full moon so I can do? You are source now. You're not source whenever the event happens, whenever the person shows up with the money. You are source now. So act or be and just do what you need to do. Stop waiting. Nothing is going to change in this world until the people who make up this reality start to change. And that's my big message, is like the wars are still going to happen. Forest fires, all these things are going to continue to perpetuate because humans have not taken responsibility. Keep pointing the finger at some sort of dark entity or some sort of this, and not realizing that the entity or that boogeyman in the closet or that creepy alien, whatever. By the way, ETs and aliens are two different things.
Yeah.
Actually call them extra perceptionals, not terrestrials, because they're just people who have shifted their perception. But reality is a reflection of the human psyche. So take charge of your psyche, take charge of your thoughts and feelings. That's whenever things start to change outwardly. We can have a complete different world within a couple years if people really take this to heart.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's amazing. Thank you. That's perfectly said as well.
Yeah.
It's really important. Thank you. Thank you for
You're
sharing.
welcome. Yeah.
And
Thank you for having me.
yes, of course. And many will have that opportunity to step forward and into that here at the Conscious Life Expo. And so we're
Yeah.
looking forward to having you and meeting you and sharing more of your wisdom and
Yeah.
education with everyone.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And thank you, Conscious Life Expo, for, creating this space for people like myself to show up and for humanity to take this step forward. And yeah, I'm excited to be a part of it. And I know that everything I share is meant for those who have ears to hear, and the right souls will resonate and they'll take action where it's needed. So and same thing with you. You're doing great work as well. So thank you for everything that you brought forth. And I'll see you at the expo.
Yeah, we'll see you. And thank you very much for joining us today. And we'll talk to you next time.
All right. Peace.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye-bye.